Namaskar to everyone. Welcome all to the Manage Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series number 22 being conducted on 13th March 2023 at Manage. Manage organizes Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series by inviting eminent professionals from the fields of agriculture and allied sectors to share their lifetime experiences to motivate and inspire the last mile extension workers who are working at the village level and block level. Here, we invite outstanding personalities to manage to share their knowledge essence through live lectures to its faculty members, participants, students, and the invitees from leading institutions and networks. These lectures are captured as edited video films to share through Manage YouTube channel and social media so as to reach to a larger audience that includes the officers from state departments of agriculture and allied sectors, scientists from KVKS and ICR institutes, faculty members of state agricultural universities, agripreneurs, and can be used as study material because it contains the lifetime experiences of the eminent professionals who contributed towards the development of agriculture. Today, we are privileged to invite Honorable Shri Yogesh Thorat, Chief Executive Officer of Maha FPC, Pune, Maharashtra. Today's topic is my experiences with farmers producer companies, opportunities and challenges. Welcome, Mr. Yogesh Thorat. Now I request our Director General Manage, Dr. P. Chandrasekhara, to introduce today's eminent personality, Mr. Yogesh Thorat.
Thank you, Dr. Jaya. Namaskar to everyone. Honorable Speaker of today, Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series, Yogesh Thorat ji, my colleagues offline and online, good morning to everyone. This Krishi Gyandeep is very special for Manage. This is the 22nd Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series. But all the 21 Knowledge Lecture Series, the speakers came from outside. So this is the first Knowledge Lecture Series where the speaker is coming from inside. So that insider is Yogesh Thorat. So on behalf of Manage family, I would like to welcome Yogesh Thorat to this Knowledge Lecture Series. I will just give a brief introduction about Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series. We have a large number of extension workers who live in villages. It is very difficult to sensitize on all aspects to all the extension workers. We always say that global thinking and local action. Documenting global thinking and connecting with the local action, the person who is responsible for local action is the job of Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series. So the eminent people come here, they share their lifetime experiences, which is converted into a edited film, which goes to more than 1 lakh extension workers in nook and corner of the country and other international organizations also who are in the Manage mailing list. The spreading the wisdom, extension experience through Krishi Gyandeep Knowledge Lecture Series is the motto of this particular talk. Then regarding Yogesh, he was a student of ABM program during 2009-11. He was here. I remember Yogesh from the angle of the kind of queries he used to come to me. So we started during that time some public-private partnership, private extension services, agribusiness activities, agripreneurship development. So he used to come to me and lot of discussions. But one thing what I understood is during that time, this man is not interested in a job. He is not going to be a job consumer. He is going to be a job creator. That happened true after a dozen years. So I am very happy to introduce Yogesh. So after completion, as he dreamt, those days like these days, we used to get 100% placements. Getting a placement for a lakh rupee is not a small thing for any fresh graduate. And like that, Yogesh also got, but not looking at that big attraction. Normally, younger generation, they get, very much attracted towards that instantly. And that is the very purpose of joining our programs. Not looking at that, but pursuing his own dream to start his own activities in rural areas. Yogesh went back to his village. He started one farmers producers company to start with, even though it took more time, but quickly converted into a farmers producers company. Then success of that farmers producers company attracted attention of many more FPCs around, and down the line, after 7-8 years, now he is CEO of a federation which carries more than 600 farmers producers companies along with him, with a turnover of it is 2,500 crores from last 3 years. And for your information, every paise what Yogesh Thorat is earning out of this 2,500 crores is not going to his kitty. I am seeing same Yogesh Thorat from day one till today, but this 2,500 crores is not going to middleman. It is going to the hands of farmers and the kitty of farmers family. That is what the biggest achievement of retaining the profit of agriculture in the farmer's family itself. That is the dream of all nation builders in this country, but he could able to demonstrate, in his own sphere of activity. And his contribution to policy advocacy is tremendous. All the leading, whether it is NABARD, whether it is Government of India, whether it is Honorable Union Agriculture Minister, I think Union Agriculture Minister participated in your AGM. All the way he came from Delhi to participate in annual general body meeting of, this is another ordinary federation, another ordinary farmers producers company. But the Union Agriculture Minister, flowing specially for this purpose and participating and just watching what happens between these people, so that he wants to replicate in other part of the country. I think that kind of policy advocacy he created out of his own experiences, and he's also an innovator. It is not only mobilizing farmers for production purpose, later shifted to farm gate aggregation, storing, and many more activities, especially dealing with perishables. It is not an easy thing, it is very risky thing. Dealing with market, dealing with perishables, all risky things which are faced by the farmers are handled by Yogesh. I think it is a very happy moment for all of us here, especially for Manage, because when we teach agribusiness management, the getting placement is a means, but not the end. The end is getting placement for the farmer, getting placement for farmer's profit. That is achieved by Yogesh Thorat. Manage is very happy about that. And we, once upon a time, every one of us were student in some college, some university, and we may get several invitation for several programs. But if we get invitation from our own institute, that we feel very proud. That kind of proud moment is there with Yogesh today. And for the stakeholders, whether people who are sitting here or online or who are going to watch this films in future, it's a great learning. We would like to listen to the journey of life experiences from Yogesh. Otherwise, the theory of agribusiness management is known to the Manage. We would like to listen to your experiences. Welcome to Manage. Welcome to this talk. Thank you very much.
Today, it is great privilege for me to be here in Manage. I wish to visit Manage, but requires some reason. And I think today is special reason because 22nd Krishi Gyandeep knowledge series, and I am one of the speaker. That is again great achievement for me, because I think first speaker was Dr. Ashok Dalwai ji, and today I'm also one of the speaker. Thanks for giving this opportunity by Manage Family. And as I said, I'm also one of the family members, so I don't consider I'm outsider. So I spent some time in Delhi after my PGP program, around 6 months. Fortunately, I got opportunity to work in Planning Commission as intern during my summer, and I learned that if I have to do something, then I need to go locally, as this is the platform or dais to share the local experience. So I understood that if I have to do something, then I need to go locally. I had taken one decision that I will not go for the placements. I went back to my home, and very passionately I thought that time I'm going to learn something. And as I said, I studied in Manage, and again I thought that I have to take experiential learning. So every day I was looking through the lens of my learning to gain some experiences, but nobody was not understanding what I am going, what is my future plans, and people were worried about my future plans. Even my family members, they don't know what is going to happen. My friends, even I was not in communication with my own batchmates for 2.5 years. I had not communicated to anybody. It was like social pressure, because somebody is doing something and what I am doing. So I don't want to make any comparison. So I completely kept isolated, and I thought that I will do my own way. And during that journey, I learnt about community based organization. I very actively participated in gram sabhas. I tried my level best for 3 years for participatory watershed management into my own villages. Then we went ahead for watershed plus activities, because we conserved natural resources. But what next? If we are going to give economical benefits to the farmers, economical benefit to the rural people, then something is going to happen. So accordingly, we started focusing on watershed plus development activity, and for that purpose we were requirement of some institutions. I have seen the village institutions, even in my own village, primary agriculture cooperative societies. If we have to enter into these primary agriculture cooperative societies, then lot of challenges, because whatever community based organizations are there, there was a lot of political exploitation. And what is entry level platform to newcomers, and even we face those challenges. But fortunately we got good opportunity to create farmer producer company. So we registered one farmer producer company in 2014 under the Company Act. The idea behind that producer company limited was that, firstly, it should be legal platform to organize the farmers. Likewise, other community-based organizations. And second objective was that to do some agribusiness activities. So in early incubation time, we have challenges about institution building, and secondly, we have challenges about business modeling. In case of institution development, we have to identify the promoters, we have to convince to the stakeholders, we have to create the ecosystem of the stakeholders who is associated with the institution development. And during that time we identified that if you don't have best consultant, if you don't have best advisors, your learning process is very lengthy. And that we faced. For the community based organizations or institutional development of the farmers or communities, there is lack of service providers. I also played a role as a service providers, not only to our organizations but other organizations, and that was the completely learning phase for us. Secondly, in case of the business development, as I studied in Manage Hyderabad, I was known to some management terminologies. I was known to procurement, I was known to supply chain, I was known to value chain. But how to make grounding of all these concepts and implementation of the concepts, that was very challenging task. So in context of conceptualization and grounding, you need to have very robust action plans, outwork framework is required for entire process, and actionables and what can be done, that was coming by participatory approach. And that was one of the strength I gained. We started lot of participatory discussions with all the stakeholders including farmers, and we were making some action plans. Again, implementation of that action plan, we were doing some pilots, and based on that pilots we were thinking that what is going to economies of scale for all these activities. My experiences in context of institution development and business development is like that. In case of the institutional development, you need to understand the pulse of the community with whom you have to work. And secondly, in case of the business modeling, you need to have academic content, you need to have theoretical aspect, and you need to have participatory approach of the stakeholders for the business development of entire ecosystem. So I was quite successful into modeling of some commodities, some business plans. I'm not talking about entire even integrated value chain. So in early days we were thinking from A to Z, but later on we became very specific. We are expert in A, so we should focus only on A. We should not divert our approach, and that we were doing. We started in sorghum commodity, and that was some academic content by some NCDX and all these players, so, and even State Warehousing Corporation. We are going to sell the commodity through electronic platform. So it was never told to us sorghum is not traded on NCDX platform. We graded that commodity, we packed that commodity, we transported that commodity, we stored that commodity into accredited warehouse, we prepared warehouse receipts, and when we went to NCDX people, they said that sorry, we don't have this commodity on our dashboard. So we said that what is the logic right now? What need to be done? And at that time they told that this is no fast moving commodity, so you cannot do anything. So we can identify some physical players and then we can sell that commodity into the spot rather than going into the futures. That was big lesson for us because we convinced around 10 to 20 farmers. We gave everything SOPs to those farmers, and disaster happened. So it was the matter of the trust of your business models. Now what is going to happen about that trust? So we came out of that panic mode, and later on we thought that we need to align with the markets, and that was market led extension. So I thought that without going behind some ideas, why we have not gone through a detailed analysis of that commodities and what is the market approaches, because this is not going to external inputs for your organization or for yourself. So it should be internal assignment for you people only. So when we got the lessons, then we thought that why not to deal with some commercial commodities like soybean, which is traded on the NCDX platform. So later on, we did a lot of work with these commodity future trading platforms, particularly for internationally traded commodities. And we brought a lot of policy reforms in future trading through SEBI also. So I think if your journey is through learning mode, then I think you are going to create some impact by lessons into that journey. And I think that we did in case of sorghum commodity. This year is declared as international year of millets. Now I am looking the changes in the lifestyle. These millets are preferred into hoteling industry. I went 10 years back history, and I was again thinking that why not to work for the millets again, and why not to work, because sorghum was again a very non-preferred commodity for me. Even while eating sorghum, I was remembering those experiences of our sorghum trade. Whatever small things we are doing at the village level, it need to have economies of scale, because we face sometimes drought is there. What you are going to do? There is no business activity for your organization. How it is going to make the business activities? So for that purpose, we thought that why not to create federation of the farmer producer companies. And again, I'm very fortunate. And the idea of creation of the state federation of the farmer producer companies. And at that time, around 30 representative of farmer producer companies were present. See, everybody is working independently. They are working at small scale level. If we are coming together for business activities, then we can create some bigger opportunities for us. And based on that, around 2 hours meeting was concluded with idea of formation of the state level producer company. I was not clear for 1.5 years after registration of this federation what is going to happen. So we were doing some pilot business activities with the government, and we were conducting some workshops for our members, training for our members. Then we learned that we are not training institutions. This is not our job to take the trainings of our member institutions. We are here to build the capacities of our institutions for the business development. So we had identified some business activities, and we started policy advocacy. We are going to make capacity building through value chain handling activities. So let us give these opportunities. So what was that opportunity? In 2017, there was pulses crisis, and we convinced to small farmers agribusiness consortium at that time, we will be your business partner. We will set up some procurement model wherein we will aggregate our farmers through farmer producer companies. We will procure that commodity and we will stock the commodity. We will not enter into any market. We will do all our operations outside the markets. So this was one small business model. Our focus was that we have to work, we have to build capacities of our organizations through value chain handling activity. And what was that value chain handling activities? We simply said that we organize farmers into farmer producer companies. Our farmer producer companies will act as a aggregation point. Our farmer producer companies had some primary, secondary processing infrastructure. We will handle the supply chain operations. We will make clean grade of commodity as per FAQ specifications. We will transport that commodity. We will stock that commodity into the accredited warehouses. And through this, we will build the capacity of our member organizations. We will build the capacity of our farmers. And government was convinced. And we are not mere labor cooperatives. We are agri-business societies. We are agri-business organizations. And this idea was again very well conceptualized by us, and we implemented very successfully. Last season, we created around 12,000 warehouse receipts. More than 500 plus warehouses were utilized by our member organizations. We facilitated around 1.79 lakh farmers in 170 blocks of Maharashtra. As a academicians or as agribusiness professionals or as faculty members for agribusiness, supply chain, value chain, interventions, our modeling should be very, very perfect. And I got that experience. We did some business modeling. We were successful for implementation of this business modeling. And right now, whatever assignment we did for last 3 years, there has been huge capacity building. There is huge awareness among the farmers, huge learnings for the board of directors of the farmer producer companies, CEOs of the farmer producer companies, and now they had created a market force. They are now one of the market interventions for specific commodities. Particularly speaking about this gram commodity or pulses commodity, our interventions had increased area in the state of Maharashtra. So this is not simple thing to say that our interventions increase the area of the pulses or gram in commodity. We had identified that, as I said, 170 blocks of Maharashtra, again around 5,000 plus villages of Maharashtra, and if we are giving market support to the farmers, if we are giving assured prices to the farmers, then farmer understood that we need to go for that crop. And even productivity for gram commodity in the state of Maharashtra is comparatively less for this season, but productivity was compensated by increase in the area of that commodity. So even in case of the self-sufficiency, or we are talking about the Atmanirbhar Bharat, so I think we need to have very robust framework, commodity specific interventions. If we are putting next to government, next to policymakers, next to implementing organs of government, then some impact is going to happen. And that was the reason now we are talking about Atmanirbharta in oil seeds. If you have machinery, if you have framework, then how to utilize this network? If you are going to make proper interventions, then you are making some changes, and these changes are very unique changes. And based on that, now problem has been in the state of Maharashtra at this point. We have very less spaces for storage of the commodities, and even state and center is aware that huge procurement is going to happen in the state of Maharashtra. We don't have any logistic plan. So this is one of the opportunity. Why not to have investment in the agriculture infrastructure? At one end we are talking about creation of the agriculture infrastructure, but simultaneously we are seeing that government funds are unutilized in case of the agri infrastructure. Farmers are not giving response to creation of the infrastructure. So if we are putting for need-based infrastructure, and what is the need of the hour? For example, in the state of Maharashtra, we identified that there is need to have warehousing infrastructure within periphery of 50 kilometers of our purchasing points. And therein again, as I said, farmer producer companies are now special purpose vehicles. So why not to make interventions through public private partnerships? Why not to bring investment through external sources? So in case of the agriculture, if we are going to create some agri infrastructure grid of the warehouses or any kind of need-based infrastructure, then we are going to resolve the problems. I learned from my experiences is about markets and innovations. We were talking about creation of the markets at the farmer's doorstep. We were talking about to bring the agriculture markets outside the APMCs. So in case of the markets, we had experiences of trade reforms. India is talking about the market reforms. Unfortunately, farmers are opposing to the market reforms. But if it's participatory trade reforms, then nobody is going to stop, because you are again talking about the market-led reforms. And in case of these trade reforms, in the state of Maharashtra, successfully changed legislation, and they made decontrol and deregulation of fruits and vegetables in 2018. Now situation has been created, trade of the pulses, trade of the oil seeds is increased in the state of Maharashtra outside the mandis, and now there is tussle between the market players. So there is competition among the stakeholders. Competitive environment is by default created by the market forces, and I think farmer producer companies can bring the market or trade reforms through economies of scales by becoming the market force, and this is the actual liberalization of the agriculture trade. So I think we need to look towards these farmer producer companies as a special purpose vehicles for bringing agriculture trade reforms. In context of the innovations, everybody is concerned about startup ecosystem, everybody is concerned about agri-tech, everybody is concerned about ICT in agriculture, and I think Manage already started these initiatives long back ago. Right now, everybody is coming into the space of digitalization and agriculture markets, digitalization of the supply chains, digitalization of the financial tools. So, in that context, we are seeing that if farmers are organized through farmer producer companies, why not to have digitalized communities of the farmers? WhatsApp, Facebook, these social medias are coming into the pictures. Why not to have very specific, farmer centric, even social media come business platforms? And a lot of youths are taking space for IT interventions for these innovative solutions for digitalization of the agricultural supply chains. Second opportunity I see about investment in the food value chains. Startup ecosystem, lot of players are investing into the startups. So lot of investment is coming into the agricultural sector, into food value chains, supply chains. Earlier we were talking about public investment in the agriculture for production perspective. But right now we are talking about investment for supply chain management, investment for value chain platforms. Earlier there were no value chain specific products into the agriculture sector. Even till today, in case of the public financing, we have very limited products like KCC, secondly warehouse receipt financing product, but we don't have value chain products. But fortunately, through the interventions of some non-banking financial companies, investment is coming through value chain products. And I think these products we need to develop, we need to create. And as I said, in case of NCDX or future trading platform, we convince NABARD, we convince SEBI to bring some innovative product. If we are talking about some innovative product, then farmers' participation is making easy. Otherwise, some policy guidelines, some framework is challenging to enter into the space of business activities. And third opportunity is about partnerships. So dealing with the farmers or the job of agriculture department, dealing with the farmers or job of self-help groups. It was earlier we were talking about financial inclusion through self-help groups. Later on we diversified that self-help group tool and we again created a self-help group of the farmers. We again came into the picture of commodity interest group of the farmers. So all these informal arrangements has fortunately very formal through the farmer producer companies, because you have legal entities right now. So you can partner with some banking institutions, you can partner with some private institutions, you can partner with some multinational companies. I think that opportunity now need to be grabbed by farmer producer companies and professionals to make very effective partnerships. And for what purpose partnership is required? Partnership is required for the development of the infrastructures. Partnerships are required for the business developments. For example, we are the procurement agencies, but we see that there is need to have robust business partner who have expertise in the forward market linkages. For example, as I said, in case of the soybean commodity, we identified that we are working as a collection aggregation point on behalf of the farmers. So we should limit our strength in the procurement activities. If we are expanding our expertise in the processing activities, then different skill set is required. So time being, we will be working in the procurement. We will strengthen our procurement model. We will strengthen our procurement supply chains, and we will partner with some processing partners. For example, Wilsmar is one of the largest global processor dealing with the soybean commodity. So why not to partner with some multinational players who have strength in the processing and to set up some joint ventures, joint stock companies. So that should be the future of the farmer producer companies, and that opportunities we are seeing right now. Particularly if we are talking about agricultural cooperatives of the sugar commodity. In case of the sugar, through the participation of the farmers, equity from the farmers, equity from the producers, we set up producer associations, we created cooperative societies for the crushing of the sugarcane commodities. But again, unfortunately, due to political exploitation of the sugar cooperatives, we have stuck up lot of sugar cooperatives. They have expertise in the production of commodity, they have huge processing capacities, but they don't have expertise in the marketing. So if you are traveling in state of Maharashtra, you will see huge cooperatives, huge sugar factories, and huge stocks of the sugar commodity. They don't have idea how to sell that commodity. So processing is different activity, production is different activity, and marketing is different activity. So in future, we are looking that farmer producer companies has huge opportunities to create joint ventures or even stock companies for handling the integrated value chain operations rather than going independently for integrated value chain handling activities. So these are the few opportunities I see based on my experiences while dealing with farmer producer companies, and simultaneously I see a lot of administrative challenges also. As I said, farmer producer company are farmers organization, these are community based organizations. So naturally the dynamics of the communities is reflected into the administration of these farmer producer companies. And unless and until you don't have robust administrative framework, you cannot expand your organization. Even managing 600 plus organization, managing affairs of the institutions, including board meetings to annual general meetings, huge affairs. And for that purpose, if you don't have skilled human resources, if you don't have proper service providers, then disaster is going to happen in these farmer producer companies also. Fortunately, there is very simple process of registration of these institutions, but maintaining the institutions, managing the institutions is very biggest problem. So point is that if these farmers organizations are growing fast, unless and until you don't have administrative setup. So point is that to set up institutions properly, to have very robust administrative changes for the institutions, you have to sensitize your farmers, you have to sensitize your board of members, and you have to sensitize your stakeholders again. Right now, what is the problem happened in our case? Last season, we handled around 350 procurement centers. Last year, there was very less trust of farmer producer. Last year, we launched one campaigning, MSP at your doorstep. So our farmer producer company had conducted village meetings. They convinced farmers, this is our product, we are going to procure your commodity, please approach to us, please submit your papers. The impact was that last year we were number one in handling the procurement operation. This time farmers had submitted their documents to our existing procurement centers. We had 350 procurement centers last time. Central agencies had changed their policies. They understood that this year there will be havoc. They said that we are going to curtail your procurement centers this time. You have to identify only 150 procurement centers. We are cut down your number by 200. So if our procurement centers curtailed by 200, around 1 lakh farmers submitted their documents at the procurement centers for supply of their commodities. Already online registration process started only at 150 places, and 200 places we don't have access to the procurement registration. Again, around 25 to 30 MLAs were taking follow-up, 10 to 15 MPs were taking follow-up with the state machinery, with central machinery, and we were not understanding what to do. So point is that your business model should be such that the external forces, whatever external forces while dealing with your commodities, it should be very, very clear. And if we are not devising our business models and business plan accordingly, then again you are giving birth to new problems. As I said, last 3 years, we handled around 3 lakh farmers. We handled around 2,500 crore funds. Even still we have payable of around 30 crore rupees to our member organizations. So at one end we are talking about there is crunch of the funds, but second end we have seen that there is no problem of the wealth. We need to have effective wealth creation. We need to have effective wealth management. And things are happening well. So the biggest challenge right now is about systems and processes. Now people are saying that, sir, then there is need to have some SOPs. They are talking about the SOPs. We are not saying that. First hand, when we are talking about these are your SOPs, they were saying that no, this is not going to happen. This is not going to work. So there was no acceptance level. Right now, that is the need. They are saying that no, this is required. So point is that there should be demand of the stakeholders. In case of the financial management, in case of all your business operations, if you have proper SOPs, and if you don't have SOPs, that is going to make disaster for the social enterprises. So I think that is one of the biggest challenges. Now we are talking about the data science. We don't want managers. We don't want very educated people, but we want human resources having expertise in Excels. We expect human resources having expertise in managing the data. So now our organizations are talking about the data science. They are even saying that please give us some training which is required for managing the data. So if we have proper systems and processes, then we are going to play a role as a service providers. I spoke about challenge of corporate finance management. We approached to the bank this time. Our packaging material requirement is around 60 crore rupees. We require at least 10 crore rupees for rotating the funds for 3 months. We have this Sovergen business. They said that no, your CIBIL scores are very, very down. We cannot do anything. Same bankers, their VP level officers, they are approaching us, please give us transaction business. We said, sorry, we are not here for transaction. If we don't have credit rating, if we don't have access to the finances, then why should we talk about transaction with you? So everybody has their own interest and you should protect your own interest also. So we spoke to bankers. If these are services not provided by your bankers, we are not going to make transaction in your banks. We refuse 3 banks despite having huge transaction. One bank we refuse. You are not able to make reconciliation of this 1 crore rupees. We are going to change the bank. This is the inefficiency. You should point out their inefficiencies also. If they are pointing you your inefficiencies, then you should point their inefficiencies also. So point is that this makes reconciliation of and making the clarity among the role and responsibilities of all stakeholders into entire ecosystem. And lastly, the biggest challenges of international trade, domestic policies. So policy framework, I spoke about some policy challenges also. You don't know what policy is going to come, but if you have strong intelligence for the policies, for example, for last 10 years we spoke about farmer producer companies. Right now government of India has mandate about creation of the cooperative societies. Now states are saying that we are going to create cooperative societies. So what is the future of the vehicles you already created? Already you have one vehicle. So we need to align with policy changes also. So the principle of cooperation and mutual assistance Government of India had planned for 10,000 FPO program. We all stakeholders know how it is moving right now. The biggest challenge for promotion and development of farmer producer organizations is that how to develop the institutions and for what purpose we have to develop the institutions. We spoke about commodity specific models. We spoke about regional models. We spoke about some federal models. But again, if we are not strategic, if we are not in planned way for promotion and development of these organizations, I think we are facing the challenges. So for that purpose, our role in policy planning should be also very, very clear. Policy advocacy should be done by this farmer producer organization. What is their requirement? What is required to this organization? In case of soybean commodity, we have seen that based on the market intelligence, at one time we were talking about market information to the farmers. Now we are discussing about disadvantage of market information among the farmers. There is huge information among the farmers. This time, soybean producers stored commodity into their warehouses with the expectations that last year prices were 8,000 rupees. This year something going to happen and again we will get those prices. Unfortunately, this time prices started declining. Still farmers has last year's carry forward stock. Still farmers are not selling the soybean right now. And due to these factors, even multinational companies are not able to operate effectively. Even multinationals working in Latur region, they are not efficiently operating their plants. So the role of the farmer producer companies into such scenario is quite important because we need to identify the equilibrium point. So ultimately, to handle the challenges, farmer producer companies have their plans aligning to national international policies. So according to me, challenges are there, opportunities are there, but ultimately sustainability of the organizations is quite important. I see I am working into this space since last 10 years, but I don't see we are still sustainable. So if 1 decade is required to see the sustainability parameters, this might be one of the failure. And I, as sir said that, successful. So I don't understand what is the meaning of the successful. So on daily basis, we are facing huge challenges. So it's like completely walking into the dark. You don't know what is going to happen. And if this is the situation and scenario of the entire agriculture ecosystem, I was talking with some farmers yesterday and they said that, sir, we were in Mumbai for last 4 days to convince some stakeholders, please allow our procurement centers and all these. But we were unsuccessful. We made huge expenditure for taking coffees into the VKC. We spend our monies, but we don't have any output. So point is that people are struggling. As one of the key stakeholder into the national policy framework, manage had to play big role. All extension professionals, they had to play big role into the sector. Otherwise, whatever success stories we are looking, the relevance of the success story should not be particular time. It should be forever relevance. And for that forever relevance, I think we need to work very passionately, very effectively for bringing sustainability. And I strongly believe that. I think I will conclude my talk by saying that we have to work very hard. We need to have lot of passion if we have to deal with the farmers. I am very thankful to Manage family and I strongly believe that lot of opportunities than challenges for farmer producer companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yogesh Thorat. Now the session is open for any questions.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Yogesh. So, few issues are there in this, especially in the concept of farmer producer companies. I have been working in this field for the last 1 decade. First and foremost thing is regulatory issues. So, there are a lot of legal compliances, the nuances of which farmers are unable to understand. So, these things, we are working on that. In fact, I am about to complete that paper. What exactly needs to be done at Government of India level. So to overcome this, what I feel is federation should come up at the state level or at the regional level. Now, at the ground level, with minimum formality of registration, farmer groups should be registered. Maybe 50, 60 or 100, and then they should be federated at an appropriate level. That federation should take care of all these legal compliances and business aspect as well. So that is one model which I considered that we may bring some success to this concept. That is first point. Second point is, there is no uniformity in models, different models which are promoted across the country. First thing, we have farmer groups under Companies Act. The second thing is we have groups under Cooperative Society. Third one is we have groups under Self-Help Group Federation. We have at micro level FIGs, CIGs. There are so many models around our country operating. Especially I have seen in the state of Andhra Pradesh as well as Gujarat, where they feel convenient to register FPOs under Max Act. So registration is simple and it is easy to operate. What I feel is, of course, one size fits all will not operate in our country, but nonetheless, I think we should bring some uniformity among the farmer groups to be developed here. Third point is, basically this producer company was conceived to overcome the problem of agriculture marketing, right? Rather, I can put it the other way. This producer company concept should take care of entire supply chain. But some of the producer companies, what is happening is, they are into just input business or they are into just procurement business. Sometimes there is no business among these farmer producer companies. Many times I have seen that. See, why Amul has been successful, why Mahagrapes or Sahyadri they have been successful is value chain centric approach is there for promotion of these farm producer companies. So this value chain centric approach should be there for promotion of each and every farm producer organization in the country. Maybe it will take another a decade or 20 years or whatever be the case. Limited number, but with value chain centric approach, we should promote these farm producer companies. That is one aspect. Before conceiving the promotion of these farm producer companies, we should look into the existing groups. Those groups can be, there is a provision for converting existing formal groups into producer companies. So that can be done. Another thing is, they have removed the minimum paid up capital cap for agriculture companies. Because of that, almost 80% of them, they have a working capital of less than 5 lakh rupees. Now with 5 lakh rupees, do you expect producer companies to perform a business? That is not there. I think minimum cap again should be brought back into the policy issue, and then we should fix the cap at least at 10 lakh rupees. If you are not able to gather 10 lakh rupees share, then we will not register. That should be the policy. And third thing is, farmers are exiting from the equity contribution. Once they make a contribution of say 1,000 rupees or 10,000 or 1 lakh rupee, after that there should be a continuous contribution of farmers towards this share capital. They say that paying one time is their job. So this year, if I subscribe 100 shares, next year at least I should subscribe for 50 shares. Then only the company will grow, the working capital will grow, and the inventory of the company can be improved. So this is another policy issues which we can think of. The other one is the database. Unless you have a strong database, policy intervention is very difficult. So these are few observations I thought of sharing with you, because you have a say in policy arena, and also manage will take up these policy issues and write a paper and policy advocacy to the Government of India. So these are some of the observations which I just wanted to share.
Point is that even you spoke about legal issues, regulatory issues, act, supply chain, and farmer challenges also. So again, I'm coming to only 2 points. In case of the institutional development, this should be the 5 steps. That simplification is required and research should be done on the same. So in case of the acts, earlier we were talking about we want exemption from this exemption. In case of registration of producer companies, we were talking about don't make a mandatory deal. But later on we learned that if we have to register on the system, deal is required. So you cannot make some exemption. So point is that I spoke about systems and processes. If some standardization or level playing field you are talking, then I think we should skip some expected exemptions. We should talk about the level playing field. And secondly, in case of the business management, I'm still worried about business model. You spoke about Amul, and one community specific business modeling was there. Right now, we don't have tailor-made business modeling, and huge research is required. Or in case of the soybean community, we should not talk about the pieces. We should make some proper research on the value chain centric approach of the soybean community, and people should follow that. Because yesterday people were telling me that you told us what to do. That is not our job. We have to just following what instructions you are giving. So again I am looking, there need to have some SOPs to be prepared, to be framed by some national institutions or managed, and we should make piloting of the same. So I think institution development and business modeling based on a lot of experiences, existing model and some piloting we are doing, then we will go for value chain centric approach of the company.
Did you do any study of how much benefit it has gone to the farmers, or what is the middleman level of middleman reduced, cost of cultivation reduced, such type of any study you did from your organization? That is one thing. And the second thing is we are discussing about the various convergence model. Even Atma also worked out convergence and other things. Nothing is working well. Actually, it is more of, but this FPOs and FPCs will be a very promising, I think, for bringing convergence. Easy to bring convergence, because when we go for the public system, there are a lot of issues, who to come and who to mobilize all these things. But at the farmer level, FPCs can act as a big convergence model to all the schemes, programs, either it for credit or insurance. Everything can be converged here. You can think about ICT, public-private partners, so various things, whatever we are talking about, the innovation can be tried in the FPC model, FPO model. So that is one thing. And second thing is, because it's a new model and there is no SOPs for the entire country, because many states may be trying, but they need not go for again trying and other things. Whatever you have tried out and some kind of SOPs brought out, that will be big learning to the other state government.
This is a national priority. How we can FPC, oilseed value chain extension, including procurement, marketing. We had discussion on that. You must be doing something in the field, but throw some light on that. Manage will be very keen to work on that. Second one, see, we have around 80,000 agricultural graduates coming every year. They are undergoing 6 months of RAVE program. And during RAVE program, we made a small experiment in Maharashtra. Upscaling that and spreading that model to every university in the country probably should be our next step. How we can do that? Then you tried, tested, successful means it is a never-ending marathon actually. Success, we cannot define success, but as on date, I am seeing the smile on your face. That itself is a success. So, social mobilization is first part. Then procurement. Can we venture into marketing? Can we venture into validation? So this is another thing. Maybe when Dr. Kumporma talked about, Amol, probably these things are in your mind. But this model varies from commodity to commodity, I am aware. But these are all the two natural extension of any of our activities. Then you are dealing with 600 companies means I can very well understand. Dealing with 5-6 people also an issue, but 600 people are diverse opinion and very more external social pressures. How can we use technology to make it more transparent process so that majority of the external issues can be neutralized?
Questions related to R&D. What kind of research we are doing in farmer producer companies? As I said that we are dealing with supply chain, we are dealing with value chain activities. We have huge numbers right now. Last year we tried to publish one report on our previous year procurement operations. So even that was a very primary stage. We can share that report to manage, and based on that, even I am thinking for next 3 months to mapping of value chain interventions required for 22 district of Maharashtra. So, what is district specific requirement is there? What is the pre-existing logistic framework is there? So, based on our previous year data, even we are operating in 170 blocks of Maharashtra. This time I had taken block-wise maps, and I have pointed out that we are working north side of the block, we are not working in south side of the block, we are not working in east side of the block. So what kind of interventions we need to required? We also observe that our concentration of FPOs in only some part of the block is there. If my village is doing well, then my adjoining village is making the copy of the same. But ideally, for the business ecosystem, what should be the requirement? So, likewise, we have data points. We can jointly work on the same for some publication. In case of second point was associated with convergence of the schemes and all these. Basically, my approach is completely different right now. If already we are facing some problems, so each you spoke about some schemes and some challenges right now, and by again taking the convergence approach, whether we are only taking the strength of that model or we are taking the entire aspect of that model. So my suggestion will be, even talking about the convergence, we should talk about the tectonic shift. So we should forget everything what happened in the past. Some tectonic shift is required. Forget about, we need to scrap the things whatever happened in the history, and we need to talk about the new India. So I think that is the idea of new India. I was seeing some FAO documents. Small documents are prepared by them, but documentation is there. 10-page documents, 15-page documents, and bringing into the stakeholders consultation. I think even new ideas we are putting into the segment. This time we proposed one idea to Government of India. You are making huge losses into the existing procurement model. Why not to have contract farming model? We will give stock carrying cost to the farmers. We will give everything to the farmers. So Government of India convinced, Secretary said, yes, we are ready. We will make pilot of 50,000 metric ton out of 2 lakh 50,000 metric ton. We convinced to Department of Consumer Advisor, DOCA, economical advisors, cost advisors. But now issue is pending with Secretary Consumer Affairs. So challenges are there, but I think we need to push some new ideas rather than making the convergence. Again, convergence is only of the strength. So we have to rectify the weaknesses also. In case of the equity, my suggestion will be, I spoke about there is challenge and opportunity of the investment. See, ultimately we are talking about the business activities, and we are talking about the service provider business model. See, for example, I have been human doctor. I am MBBS, I am setting up my own hospital, I am making investment, and I am looking for some revenue model into the same. I don't expect ki now government will give some subsidy to set up my hospital, government will do some kind of thing. So I personally strongly believe that now time has come. We are talking about the startup ecosystem. We are talking about the incubation of the startups. So simultaneously, in case of the farmer producer organizations also, we need to bring them out of the support from the government. Even equity, even in case of the equity scheme of government of India, the promotion and development of 10,000 FPO program, that is facing biggest problem of bringing equity of the farmers. Even farmers are not ready to give 2,000 rupees. Farmers are asking for what purpose I am to give this 2,000 rupees. We are saying that you will get again 2,000 rupees from government of India. He says then what is going to happen? What is my benefit? Tell me. If I am giving you 2,000 rupees, then I am going to increase my income by so and so. As I said, we have liabilities of 30 crore rupees of our stakeholder companies. On which basis they had given us equity? Because they got some business activities. They have some future prospects for the business activity. So accordingly, in case of the equity, we should be very specific. Coming to specifically oilseed mission and oilseed kind of Atmanirbharta. I said even this AGM we pitched for Atmanirbharta in oilseeds. Earlier, I spoke about the network. If we have network, then we have to give some program to that network. Simple logic is there. And if we have to give program, for example, any faculty member, they have to define any program. Then who is the faculty members? What is the course content? What is the inaugural session? What is the after lunch session? If any immediate changes are there, then what is the alternate plan? We need to have moreover actionable plans. We have structures right now. Lot of structures already we created. So we should not talk about creation of the new structures, as you said. No need of the new structures. Give program to the existing structures. Whatever challenges, problems they are facing, we need to give programs accordingly, and we need to have engagement on day-to-day basis for active participation of the stakeholders. But if we are making sensitization to the particularly agriculture graduates on thematic basis. See, we need to have some thematic. So that was one of the theme made efforts to make it successful, to give some theme to the agriculture graduates. So there should be some thematic areas. So that was one of the theme. But I think if we have 3-4 thematic areas and we are devising the programs accordingly, then that will be universal, location specific, region specific ideas will be there. So that can be done nationally. Thirdly, in case of social mobilization, procurement, marketing, and value addition, my thoughts are very clear. You need to have expert of one thing first. Then you should think about the diversification, and that applies for the value chain interventions also. For example, if we are handling pulses, and again we are talking about setting up some processing units, and simultaneously we are talking about marketing of the pulses, it requires set of service providers. Already you had organized, social mobilized farmer stakeholders at one end. But when we are talking about integration of the value chain, that is not single entity job. So that's why convergence of the stakeholders and partnerships of the stakeholders, that is required into that space. And that happened in case of the sugar factories. Earlier we had very robust cooperative sugar factory model. What happened in the state of Maharashtra? Equal numbers of private sugar factories has been emerged rather than cooperative sugar factories. So processing is different aspects. Technology is required for that purpose. If you have special purpose vehicles or specialized human resources institutions, then you will be successful into that. And that is the area right now. Partnering of specialized human resources. So we are expert in procurement, somebody is expert in processing, and somebody expert in marketing. Lastly, in case of the technological interventions, see, ultimately, without technology, we cannot move forward. But what kind of technological interventions are required, that need to be identified. For technological interventions, if we are bringing farmers as a social media stakeholders, coming to original point, that relevance, what is relevance to your stakeholders, you should be at the par of the same. So definitely, because we are now feeling that if we have to deal with 1.8 lakh farmers, why not to have dedicated network of these 1.8 lakh farmers, as manage is saying that we have digitalized network of this, so even digitally we are connected to a lot of peoples right now. So, in the era of digitalization, in the era of the technology, we need to bring again new reforms in ICT in agriculture. This was basically knowledge sharing or experience sharing from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Yogesh. To summarize, you finally told that farmers are still struggling, and for sustainable relevance, we need to work passionately, continuously, and chintan on daily basis. Strong fact-based publications are required, and we have to work very hard for farmers and stakeholders, and we should never quit. Question yourself every day as to what progress you have made, and then there are a lot of opportunities available in the ecosystem. And leadership is the key factor for success of FPCs and service provider business model that goes on. So thank you, Mr. Yogesh. And now I request our Director General, sir, to thank Mr. Yogesh.
Yogesh, there is no bigger GAN than experience. Today it was a sort of, experiential learning for us that is valued by every professionals actually. We can read 100 models, but show me little success. That is where the question ends, journey ends. So you have conquered all the stages, and I know, it is not full stop, it is comma all the time. We wish you grand success, and of course, whatever success you achieve, that will be the success of farmers. That strong belief you have. So thank you very much for coming here, sparing your valuable time. Otherwise, you would have interacted by 2-3 FPCs by this time. You diverted the time and you came here, shared with us. The advantage will be there forever. This will be converted into film. It will go to manage YouTube channel. Thousands of people will watch, not only tomorrow, any days to come. I think your experience is converted into knowledge for the benefit of other people. And thank you for sparing your valuable time for this mission. Thank you very much.